Well, we are back. Appreciate you tuning in. This is Wooden Sticks. I am Kevin Gorg recording from the Aquarius Home Services studio. It's going to be a real fun show today. We're going to kind of move off the beaten path just for a little while and talk to a dear friend of mine. Back in the day when I was coaching, late 90s high school hockey, early 2000s college hockey, I spent some time at Mounds View High School, and one of the students there was Michael Shaughnessy. He was a 2000 grad. About a month ago, I went to have brunch at a place over in Hopkins called the Pink Ivy Kitchen and Bar. And before I met Michael, I was well into my brunch that morning with some friends, and I was blown away by the beauty of the restaurant, the atmosphere, and more importantly, the food, because I don't go there for just ambiance. I want a great meal, and we were having brunch, and it was spectacular. Well, in the middle of enjoying brunch, the chef came out and said, I hear a familiar voice, and we reconnected from our days back at Mounds View High School. I didn't teach at Mounds View High School. At that time, I was like in-school suspension guy, FIAD teacher guy. I would be a substitute teacher because that was my origin of study, but got to know Michael and then reconnected about a month ago. Really cool place in Hopkins. And so we're going to talk about his path, how he found his way to being the co-owner of a restaurant with his wife and the lead chef at Pink Ivy, and talk about some great food items. We'll maybe tie a little hockey in with maybe preparing food for one of his favorite Wild players because he's a big fan of the Minnesota Wild. So it's going to be a fun conversation today. We're supporting local, which we love to do here on Wooden Sticks. And a dear friend of mine, Michael Shaughnessy from the Pink Ivy Kitchen and Bar. Before we get to that, let's talk a little Minnesota Wild. We're recording this midweek on the heels of another really impressive win. Minnesota beat the Utah Mammoth the night prior here, 5-rip. Philip Gustafsson has been unbelievably good after he got back from the Olympics. He didn't play great for Team Sweden over there. After 2 starts, he was relegated to the bench. It was kind of his job until Markstrom took over. But starting in Denver, the first time the Wild played there, when he had those 44 saves, paging forward to his 15th career shutout last night, he's been one of the best goalies in the National Hockey League. And I say that, and I cringe just a little bit because what the Wild are getting to right now is what I want them to have in their hip pocket when they face off against the Dallas Stars in the middle of April, likely around April 18th or 19th. You want to be healthy, which for the most part, they're getting healthy, and you want to have your goaltenders trending in the right direction, i.e. red hot, which is what for sure Philip Gustafsson is right now, and off what Jesper Wallstedt did this past weekend in Denver in a shootout loss. Very positive indeed. So, yeah, I love what I'm seeing. I love the depth, and as we kind of react to what Bill Guerin did, if you're not able to get a top 2 center, first or second line right-handed shot center, I know Trocheck was the guy that everybody was kind of gunning for, and apparently the Rangers were asking for a lot, and it didn't pan out. And I think, Wild fans, no matter what Bill Guerin was going to do, it was either going to be too much, not enough, I can't believe you did this, da-da-da-da-da. Bottom line is, as I handicap this pragmatically, and I don't think Billy Guerin listens to Wooden Sticks, so I don't care. If I didn't agree with what he did, I'd still feel comfortable saying that. And Billy's the type of guy that really wouldn't give a shit either way. But as I look at this now on the back end of what they did, knowing they've got some freedom this summer to do another big aggressive move if that opportunity comes their way. He already went out and got Quinn Hughes just because it wasn't the week of the deadline. It was the middle of December. It doesn't take away from the impact that number 43 has had on the Minnesota Wild. It's arguably one of the biggest and best moves, if not the best move, this organization's ever made. I mean, it's an unbelievable opportunity now for this club to make a cup run. And I'm not just talking this year, because this year is going to be tough. Dallas and Colorado are probably the top 2 teams in the league right now, so it's not going to be easy. But in the next 3 or 4 years, this same roster together is going to be that same cup contender year after year. They're still pretty young. When you look at their key players, Kaprizov still in his 20s, Boldy young, Faber young, Quinn Hughes middle 20s, pretty young, Urov coming young, goaltenders in not even to their prime, but beginning to get to their prime. So no, I'm all on board with where this team is going. Whether they get there this year or not, I don't know. but specifically looking at the moves at trade deadline, the Wild are dramatically bigger, stronger, and better. And so let's play this out. Let's just assume that John Hines likes Kaprizov with his main man Zuccarello and Hartman in the middle. It's been a great combination. They've been a consistent producer game in and game out here this year. I know he loves Johansson with Boldy and Eck for the second line, and now you've got Bobby Brink, who I can't believe they were able to get Bobby Brink and his skill set for Juracek, a guy that once the Wild got Quinn Hughes was never going to be a factor on this club with his offensive skills and his defensive deficiencies. So Bobby Brink, I think, a lot to be a middle six forward right now with Yurov and Tarasenko. That to me has some promise, has some potential, and I think you're going to see Bobby Brink flourish in this system at age 24. So that's the good news if you're John Hines. The bad news is if you're John Hines and this coaching staff, you now have 3 spots left, and you have 6 quality players to choose from. And as a listener, I would love in your mind, as I'd rattle these off, for you to, in your mind, if you're John Hines, put your coaching hat on, pick your 3. Because here's the 6 you have to pick from, and you only get to pick 3. Trenyon, Marcus Foligno, Nick Foligno, Michael McCarron, Nico Sturm, and Robbie Fabry. And I got to tell you, I mean, we know that Trenyon's the hit leader in the National Hockey League, and it's not close. We know the Wild have invested 4 years in him, and he's built for playoff hockey. And, oh, by the way, he's playing well right now. Now, and Marcus Foligno, if and when he gets healthy, and they're saying maybe the final week of the regular season, they can get him back. If he's healthy, he's a heart and soul guy. He's a captain. He's a leader. Hard to take him out, okay? Michael McCarron, it's only a couple of games. Man, does he look good. 6'6", 260 pounds, can skate, can kill penalties, can take faceoffs. Now you got Nick Foligno, another heart and soul guy. He's shown some offensive prowess. He's a great penalty killer. He's a great checking line guy. We know how good Nico Sturm can be. We saw the shorthanded goal in Denver. And, oh, by the way, Robbie Fabry, kind of forgotten about, number 21 on the roster. 21, can you do something for me? He's looked good in his limited time in a Wild sweater. So, once again, you're John Hines. If there are no injuries, the Foligno brothers, McCarron, Fabry, Sturm, and Trenyon. You get 3. 3 have to sit out. That is going to be some really, really tough decision-making for that coaching staff. Now, on the blue line, the Billy Guerin is established. You've got Quinn Hughes and Brock Faber at the top. That's a no-brainer. You've got a great shutdown pair with Brodin and Spurgeon. You've got the playoff beef of Middleton and Bogosian. So your backup on the left-handed side is Damon Hunt, who we know can play and has played well all year. He's a terrific player. And now you've got Jeff Petrie, a Stanley Cup guy, a veteran guy on the right side as a safety valve over there. And you've got 2 goalies. And I mean, I think if the Wild are able to make a run here and get past Dallas and do the unthinkable and dethrone the President's Cup trophy winners, the Avalanche, and they actually get to the conference final, maybe make a run at the Cup, I think both goalies will at some point play really meaningful minutes to do it. And I look back at 03 with Rolison and Fernandez, and I get it. Like right now, Gus is the guy, and he deserves to be the guy. But I got a feeling here that if this team's able to make a run, that the Wall of St. Paul will have some serious impact. I was so happy that they didn't trade Jesper or Ryan Hartman at the deadline. And they both were talked about in conjunction with the Trocheck deal that didn't happen. And I'm super happy we still have them. And the other thing is we've got a great young prospect at the college level in Charlie Stramel, who plays for Michigan State, likely going to be a 1 seed in the tournament. As Wild fans, we're going to get treated to at least a few games watching him play on that big stage. So I'm excited about all of it. Most excited about this hockey team. They look legit to me. All that being said, and I keep telling my friends and my relatives, this is the best team I've covered in my 20 years, and it isn't close. The most star power, the most exciting, the most skilled, the deepest. It's not close. Bar none, the best team I've seen. If you play this thing out, and if the playoffs started tomorrow, the Minnesota Wild would be going on the road to play the Dallas Stars, and they would be the betting underdog in that series. What I'm trying to tell you is, as good as they are, and they're really good, there is absolutely a scenario where once again they don't get out of the first round. And that would be discouraging. Some fans would make fun of the Wild and poke this and poke that. But the bottom line is this. They are stuck right now with 3 of the best 4 teams on the planet in their division. And the way the playoffs are set up, and there's nothing we can do about it, they're going to have to beat the top 2 teams in the league in consecutive fashion to get to that conference final. I think they can do it. I absolutely have been saying that on this show for months. But again, there is a scenario where it doesn't happen. And the good news is, as I clearly outlined a few minutes ago, this is a team that's not only built for right now, they are built for the next 3, 4, 5 years. They're going to be in the mix every year. They're young. They're in their prime. They've got depth at every position. And I think they're very well coached by John Hines. So it's an exciting time to be a fan of the team. And we're going to document all of this right here on the podcast, Wooden Sticks, throughout the spring, hopefully into the summer. And we can dream of that parade heading down West 7th. And I've had the conversation with my coworkers trying to figure out which float I would be on. And I'm going to be there. And maybe we can do a podcast from the parade. Who knows? We'll all be overserved. It'll be a great time. We'll have those cargo shorts on. It'll be a big party and something we deserve here in the state of hockey. I think about some of the recent Cup winners in Tampa Bay, the Florida Panthers, some of these warm weather climates, and they've got good fan bases, especially Tampa Bay. But how in the hell, between the North Stars and the Wild, do we not have a Stanley Cup here in St. Paul in the state of hockey? So we're due. We're long overdue, and I think it's coming here in the next couple of years. So that's going to be a lot of fun as we document it along the way on your favorite hockey podcast. Up next, though, on the show, we segue into the world of cooking. And do I have a fun guest for you? The restaurant is called the Pink Ivy Kitchen and Bar. His name is Michael Shaughnessy. He is a graduate of Mounds View High School. We'll get to Michael here in just a moment. Before we get to Michael, though, I've got to say a special thank you to the folks that make this show happen. Please support them at every turn. They are wonderful. And I'll start with John Schweitz of Minnesota Masonic Charities. Nobody better. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the Minnesota Masonic Charities. When you think about the Masons, I get it. You think about the funny hats, those pancake breakfasts, which are phenomenal. My dear friend John Schweitz and I have chatted about this, and it's so much more than that. They've got the Masonic home over in Bloomington. They've got the hospital for the children over at the U of M. They are the largest fraternal organization in terms of charitable needs in our country, and they deserve a ton of recognition. So thank you, Minnesota Masonic Charities, for all you do and for supporting us over here at Talk North, and a special thanks to my good friend, John Schweitz. Also want to say a special thank you to my friends at Onyx Fish and Onyx Maps.
Have you ever driven past a piece of land and wondered who owns that? Or maybe you need to know exactly where a property line runs. That's where Onyx Hunt comes in. And it's not just for hunters. There are folks using Onyx for their jobs every day throughout the country. From farmers and ranchers mapping out their fields, wildland firefighters navigating rough terrain, to construction workers needing to know who owns what property, this app offers something for everyone. If you need the best land ownership maps, aerial imagery, and property boundaries in your pocket, Onyx Hunt is the tool for the job. Try it free for 7 days. Download Onyx Hunt in the app or Google Play Store, or visit onyxmaps.com/hunt to get started.
And of course, our friends over at Lexus in Wayzata and Lexus in Maplewood. Up next, a little cooking with Michael Shaughnessy. All right, welcome back. You are listening to Wooden Sticks here on the Talk North Podcast Network. Every day we do record. It's from the Aquarius Home Services Studio. Thank you, Aquarius, for your great sponsorship of this show. Dear friend of mine, Michael Shaughnessy, is with me. Class of 2000, Mounds View Mustangs, takes me back to my old coaching days and restaurateur in town. Michael, great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Gord. Great to be here.
About a month ago, I'm over in Hopkins, little Sunday brunch. I remember Team USA was playing in the prelim, so we're meeting some friends for a bite to eat, and I said, well, listen, we got to go. I think it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and we got to be done in time to go watch Boldy, Faber, and the boys of the red, white, and blue. And all of a sudden, our waiter says, well, Michael Shaughnessy's the owner here, and he's the lead chef, and it says he knows you from the Mounds View days. I'm like, oh, my goodness. So we made that connection that day. Super proud of you, because I got to tell you, it was Pink Ivy, the kitchen and bar over in Hopkins. Outstanding brunch, cool place. Where did this journey start? Let's go back, because it's wooden sticks. We like to take it back old school. Take me back to when you were a Mounds View Mustang. Is this something you had planned all along?
Well, not really. No, I definitely can't say that, but it's something I started when I was in high school. My older brother, he was a class of 96. He got me my first job at Green Mill in Shoreview.
Yes.
Just like a pizza cook. He was there for a while. You know how the restaurants are. You bring your friends, family, whatever. Good to work with that. So it was my first job. I was 15 years old. He's like, Mike, just come work with me on the weekends. We'll make pizza together. And so I did that, and did that all through high school, really. That was my job. I would work, a lot, because I had a car payment that I had to pay. But so that was my incentive to keep working. So I worked, pretty much started when I was a sophomore there. And so I worked in the kitchen for the entire high school, career, and made some good money while I was doing it. And people would come up to me and they're like, Mike, you're pretty good at this. You should be a chef. I'm like, no, I don't want to be a chef, man. This isn't for me, So after high school, after I graduated Mounds View, I quit and I thought I wanted to be an electrician. So I went the summer after graduation. I went and worked with, I got like an internship with these electricians out in White Bear Lake. And I was their young buck. I would be digging trenches, pulling wire. And I thought that's what I wanted to do, because it, pays well and good pension, all the things, that electricians get. It's a great job, really. But, I just realized after 3 months, I just missed the kitchen so much. I just missed the pots and the pans and the camaraderie of the kitchen, the jokes we get to play, all the fun stuff. That it just wasn't the same. And I just had this feeling that, man, I just really want to be back in the kitchen, which is, I did not think I would have at all, leaving. I just didn't think I loved it as much when I was in the moment. When you're 15, 16, you're not even really thinking like that. But I did realize when I left, I really wanted to go back. And so then I went to, so right after that summer, I enrolled in culinary school at Le Cordon Bleu down in Mendota Heights. It's not there anymore. But did a 13-month culinary program there, graduated and loved it. And I was working at Green Mill doing that too. School, work, combo, trying to balance that. And just then from there, just kind of the career took off, and I've never really left the kitchen since. I've always just been in the kitchen working, mostly here in Minneapolis. I did live in Vegas for about 6 years, working for Wolfgang Puck, but it's allowed me to travel, and I've done some internships out in France and Italy as well. So just love cooking, love taking care of people. It's the hospitality gene in me. I just love to see, people enjoy and relax and have a good time in our restaurant.
Well, I'm good friends with Gavin Kaysen, who is a well-known chef in town, takes care of the Minnesota Wild, was just on Mark Rosen's show on this same podcast network here at Talk North. Do you know Gavin? Is he one of those guys you look up to in town? And, is there another person that's kind of been a mentor to you as you've kind of developed your skills?
I do know Gavin. We've passed in passing. I wouldn't say like we're close friends at all, but I've met him a few times. He's had a few conversations with him, and yeah, he's definitely one of the pillars out here in the Twin Cities as far as chefs go. I mean, he is like really like the one you look to when you need some leadership or some thoughts, because he really does it in a really thoughtful and experienced way, coming from New York and stuff like that. So yeah, he's one that I would look up to. Other mentors, I don't know. I definitely do. Ann Kim was one. I worked with her at Young Joni in 2016. I was the opening chef of her restaurant. That was there for 2.5 years. And that's kind of where I fell in love with like vegetable cookery and just a new way to look at food. She kind of helped me unveil that. So I really respect her and what she's done. Other than that, the chefs that I worked with in Las Vegas, they were so talented and there's so much talent in the room that I just couldn't help but take so much from them. They just showed me hard work and dedication, and we were working in the hotels, and there was always events. It just you always had to kind of one up everybody, and that was the thing that not really one up, but you wanted to stick with them, keep up, and that was a
Right.
tough thing. So that's where I kind of cut my teeth. I called it culinary boot camp because they were just it was a great time, and I learned a ton. And so I would say all the chefs in the Wolfgang Puck group that mentored me, Eduardo Perez and Mark Sandoval and a few of those other guys, that they really kind of shaped my career at that point.
So for our listeners, maybe some that haven't been over to Hopkins and seen your place, it really is a cool joint. And I call it a joint as a compliment because it's unique. You walk in, it's anything but cookie cutter. It's got a real cool feel to it. Great vibe. We're there on a Sunday morning. The place is packed. Great food options. And I'm not a biscuits and gravy guy. I'm always down the fairway guy with scrambled eggs and bacon or an omelet. It's just what I do when I go out for brunch all my life. And I'm getting close to 60. But we were talking at brunch the day we were at Pink Ivy, and the waiter mentioned that the biscuits and gravy are really good. I'm like, hey, I got to try something different. And I'm so happy that I did because it was amazing. I mean, an amazing breakfast. So take us back to the start. How did you guys pick the location? How did Pink Ivy come to be? And how have you developed this into your own?
Yeah, I mean, well, I met my wife in the business. Her name is Michael Shaughnessy. We met in 2010, and we were opening a restaurant together out in Maple Grove called the Maple Tavern. It's still there now. I think it's gone through a few ownerships, but anyway, that's where we met in the business. And that was in 2010. We got married in 2014. So we've always, we always shared the love for food. She was front of house. I was back, obviously chef, back house. She kind of left the kitchen scene or the restaurant scene a few years later after we got married and did some tech support and stuff. But we'd always talk about owning a restaurant together. That was always our thing. We'd just dream about it together. Like, what is it going to look like? How's it going to feel? And so we'd always talk about it and kind of map it out. And we never thought we'd get there, to be honest. I shouldn't say never, but during the pandemic and all that, we just weren't sure. But we had a great opportunity. I was at Mill Valley Kitchen in 2019, and once the pandemic hit, I unfortunately, as most chefs, lost work. And so kind of went to the drawing board and actually asked myself, is this something we really want to do anymore? Because the whole restaurant landscape changed, and it was a lot of questions we were wondering about. And she was still working, thankfully, in the IT world. And then we got an opportunity from the folks over at the Malcolm Yards Food Hall to open up a small spot in 2021. And so that was it. That was our opportunity to really kind of low risk, high reward, to have a little small 300 square foot space inside that food hall. There's 9 different kitchens in there. Patty Wall was the owner, and we just got connected through friends. And, we were able to open up our first business in 2021. It was called Ad Vellum. It was a vegetable focused spot because that's what they wanted. They wanted like a healthy spot. They had the fried chicken, they had the burgers and the pizza. They're like, all right, we need something a little healthy. And, working with Ann Kim and stuff, I got a little kind of known for my vegetable cooking and stuff like that. So we called it Ad Vellum Vegetable Eatery. Wasn't the smartest name. A lot of people would walk by in the food hall. They're like, I don't even want to look at that menu. You know what I mean? We learned a lot about names and just how to operate and how to work together with a husband and wife. Because, we don't have investors. It's just me and her starting our business from the ground up, took out a small loan, and really just kind of learned how to we just figured it out together. We weren't perfect. We made a lot of mistakes, but that was the whole point of the food hall, to just see if your concept can work. And so we just took that concept and we brought it to, we always wanted a full service restaurant. We always wanted a full service space. We just wasn't sure where. And we signed a 2-year agreement at the food hall, and that was coming up to an end. And we were actually looking for a space for about a year. It took us a year to find it. And we just kind of fell in love with Hopkins. We really, just the whole downtown, the Main Street feel, lots of small businesses. You're not going to see any big corporate places, restaurants on that Main Street. They're all really good, independent operators. So that kind of spoke to us like, oh, this sounds like we could probably fit in here, and they didn't really have the food that we have. They had a lot of, bars and breweries, and there's a really cool sushi Peruvian spot on 9th called Kanako. But so we just thought we could fit in. So we found the space, and luckily we were able to transfer the lease in 2023. And my wife was responsible for the entire design of the front of house. And, I run the back house and operations now. I kind of oversee the entire thing while she does all the rest of the work that's involved with the restaurant. There's so much behind the scenes things that she takes care of. And I just like going in and cooking and chatting and talking to people like you, and surprised me on a Sunday morning. Like, I heard your voice, and I was like, I know who that is. So from back in the day, and I watch you on, FSN, or the old FSN. Sorry, that's dated. But anyways, yeah, love hearing your voice and love seeing you in the restaurants. That's kind of the story, man. We just found it and turned it in. It was an old Vietnamese restaurant. It was called Cameron Bay. And we just loved the space and the potential of the space. And my wife, Verika, has a great eye for design. So we basically took 6 months and gutted it and put in a full service bar, all new kitchen equipment, and just really kind of went for it. And it's a 75-seat restaurant in downtown Hopkins called Pink Ivy Kitchen and Bar. And we just hit our 2-year anniversary. So we're really happy for that.
Well, Michael, congratulations. And I know what a competitive business it is. I had a teammate of mine at St. Thomas who played hockey with us named Lou Schaefer, and him and his brother used to run a lot of the bar restaurants in town. And I know from being friends with Louis that, the business can be volatile. It can beat you up. The hours can be long. You end up working there. If you're into it, like you are, you're a chef and a co-owner, you're running everything. So it's hands-on every day, all day. And I don't think people realize the commitment in your life that you have to make to it. But being there and seeing just how beautiful it is, and then having a chance to try the food, this thing's going to be a home run. And I'm with you. We live over in Minnetonka. We come over to Hopkins all the time for that same reason. Especially when the weather gets a little warmer, you can walk up and down Main Street. You got all kinds of unique spots to shop, to eat, to hang out. There's nothing corporate about it. It's a really, really cool place. So, looking at this, long term, this could really be a good thing. And, have you had the chance to take a deep breath and enjoy it? Or has it just been work the whole time?
Well, that's a good question. Cause if you asked me that probably, a couple months ago, I would have said, no, we haven't, but we've just kind of stabilized things. We've actually hired, another chef, and that helped. So we had an operating standard of 2 chefs and myself, and we're like, man, we just need extra help. I'm working a lot. Everyone's working a lot. If someone's sick or needs a vacation, it's just hard to cover. So we just said, let's just get another chef in here and let's keep this thing running, and let's all stay healthy. And since we've done that, it's been pretty good. So it's been a nice kind of change of pace, and I've been able to kind of like be a little more creative too. So that's been great. So yeah, we've been able to kind of just take a big look. After 2 years, you kind of know you have some numbers to go off of, and you have a good idea of what's coming. You've seen a couple seasons now, like what spring feels like, what to prepare for in the summer. So knock on wood, Kevin, I would say, I have had a little time in the last few months to just kind of reflect and enjoy and figure out what it is that we want to do or not do next. There's always options, but we love having just the one Pink Ivy. It's super unique. There's not another one like it. And so I think that's a big reason what people love coming in to see. My wife's there on the weekend nights, and she writes the wine list, and she'll chat with every table and talk to them about wine while I'm back there, running food and, asking them how dessert was, so it's just a really fun, unique, concept that we have, and we just want to keep doing it. And as long as people are coming through the door, man, we're going to keep doing it.
Well, all I can tell you is the day we were there, they were more than coming through the door. It had a great atmosphere. It was packed. Just a really unbelievably cool vibe. So let's say one of your high school buddies who maybe you haven't seen in years comes in with his wife, and he wants you to prepare your favorite meal off the menu for that particular dinner. If you had to pick one, and I know there's a bunch of options, you guys have a really diverse menu, but for your old high school buddy that went in there, what would you make him and his wife?
So yeah, that's Man, we have a brunch, lunch, and dinner. So we have three different menus that we run. So there's a lot of different options that you can come into Pink Ivy for. But if you're coming in for dinner, we're open dinner 7 nights a week. But I would say, man, we got the smoked pork chop on the menu. That's just been a huge hit for us. We work with the farmers down at Hidden Stream Farms in Elgin, Minnesota. And we get these nice, like 12, 13-ounce pork chops. They're about 1.5 inches thick. And
hell yes.
All we do, man, they smoke them for us and they do all the great work. And we just rub them with a little salt and pepper, a little olive oil, and we slowly grill them. Just kind of render some of that fat because that fat is all still in there. And we just render it nice and slow. Hit it with some Texas barbecue sauce. And then we pair that up with a sweet potato cornbread pudding. It's mostly like a nice cornbread with extra sweet potatoes in it, a little apple jicama slaw with a chimichurri aioli, and just a little more cherry tomatoes over the top. And it's just a nice 12-ounce chop that you can just dig into. So that's what my buddy's getting. And his wife, man, we love our seafood, and that seems to be a really, lighter side. Everyone loves what we do when it comes to salmon. And right now we got scallops on the menu. So I would say the scallops, it's with a frigola pasta, which is almost like a couscous. It's kind of like a pearl pasta. It's an Italian pasta. So we do 4 seared scallops. They sit on a bed of frigola pasta with a little lemon, garlic, and cream sauce, some spinach and roasted red pepper. And we finish it with a blood orange salsa. So it's blood orange in season right now, super citrusy and bright, and just goes really well with the creaminess of that pasta. And the scallops in there as well. So that's what she's probably getting, and and you can share. That's the best part about our menu, man. It's meant to everyone taste everything. A lot of small plates too that you can share. So a lot of options, but those were the two. I think I might have you coming back for dinner if I think.
Well, just listening to you, I can feel the passion in your descriptions and your love for what you're doing. And it's like listening to Eddie Olchuk describe Team USA and the Olympics on TNT. Like you feel that pure love and joy you have for what you do. And I think, you and I are very similar creatures in that we found something for a career that probably doesn't feel like work. We love what we do. We'd be doing it either way. I'd be watching all these hockey games, whether they were paying me to do it or not. You'd be doing the same thing in the kitchen. And so when I go talk to kids, like I have the opportunity to talk to high school and college kids all the time and about the career of broadcasting. I don't care what the career is. I've told my 3 daughters this exact same thing. If you have passion for what you're going into, I don't care what you make. I don't care what the salary is, what the investment is money-wise. But if you truly have passion for what you're doing and you get up every day and you feel fortunate and lucky and look forward to going to work, then you're going to have a great career because you're going to pour your heart and soul into it. If you're checking a box, if you're going to sit in a cube and you're just there for a paycheck, it's not going to work. And I've done a lot of different things. As I approach 60, I've been a teacher, I've been a coach, I've been an in-school suspension guy, I've run a hockey camp, I've done the broadcasting thing. So I get it. And I think you've got it. You've figured it out. So I don't know how much you're able to talk to young people, but the passion that you have, Michael, listening to you talk about this, to me is the key to life.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Gorg, man. I mean, yeah, without that, like it just becomes just a mundane thing. And you got to just love what you're doing. And I agree. Like for a while, man, I didn't make a lot of money for a long time. Restaurants notoriously don't make a lot of money anyway, but if you're doing them right, you can. And we're doing it pretty good over there. But for a while, there was a lot of times I'm like, I don't know if I can make this into my career, but I just loved it so much. And I didn't want to do anything else. Kind of going back to the electrician thing. Well, those guys, honestly, none of them really enjoyed what they did. And that's really one reason why I didn't want to do that. And I'm like, well, fast forward 25 years, that's going to be me just complaining, working for the weekend. And I didn't want that. I wanted something that I enjoy and can do every day. And you're right. I don't think it's work when I'm going in there. I'm thinking it's like a little playground and I get to go have fun with my friends and cook some food and meet more friends in the dining room. I mean, honestly, it's not always that glamorous, but if you can kind of just work with that, and yeah, there's going to be days that are tough and you got to figure through them. But yeah, just loving, love cooking food. I love the experimenting of it. I love the creation behind it. And I just love seeing people happy, and, if they can walk into Pink Ivy and just forget about their problems for a short period of time, because we all know there's stuff out there that we want to forget. But at least we can offer that. And yeah, and then that shows through on the plate and the service and the atmosphere. And it's something that I'm fortunate to find at an early age. I know a lot of people, struggle, and I do understand that too. Like, it's hard to find what you want. And I didn't know this is what I wanted, but I just knew I loved it. Or I liked it a lot, and I just kept going with it. And despite all the negative thoughts, or how am I going to make a career out of this? Chefs don't really make money. I could have, bowed out, but I loved it so much. So just kept on it and kept following my path. And that's what I would say to any young kids and any young cooks that come into the kitchen too. We get a lot of young chefs that want to, learn and come in. And so I try to teach them and let them know it's not all glamorous, and it's all fun. It's not always fun, but it's hard work, and it's worth it.
I'm shocked my dogs are behaving, and I love that your dog's making some noise. That's all part of the deal here. We don't care about that. I just hope you're able to bring home some leftovers for your pooch to make sure that the pooch gets a little Pink Ivy love as well. So my next question, Michael, revolves around the work-life balance. When you and your wife are away from Pink Ivy, who does the cooking? How much do you enjoy cooking at home? I mean, is it more you'd rather go out because you make food for people all week? How does that balance play out for you?
Yeah, it varies, man. Some months we want to go out to see a new restaurant, and other months other times we just say, no, we're staying home. Because we're kind of out enough at the restaurant. That feels like night. That does take a lot of social energy to be out and in the restaurant. And so when you come home, man, you just want to stay home and watch TV or whatever. So I would say it all depends on kind of what you're feeling, but I do try to cook at home a lot, but if you look in our fridge, man, there's not a lot sometimes. Sometimes it's just leftovers from Pink Ivy. We just go in ruts sometimes where we're just kind of not cooking, or we try to. In the summer, we cook a lot more. In the winter time, it's more takeout and stuff like that. But yeah, it's something that we try to cook. And, I just was roasting out some chicken and broccoli before this. And so and we just moved too. So that's been a big part of it, and trying to figure out what we like and what's in the new area and all that. So I try to cook, but, and try not to talk about work as much as possible while we're doing it.
I love it. Well, the season's about to change. So I'm just curious, because I have absolutely no idea. But when you go from winter to spring, but more specifically in a month or two here, we're going to get to summer. How does that affect your menu?
Yeah, great question. We pretty much do change with the seasons, but you'll never find like us doing a full menu change where we scrap the most of the menu and start all over. I'm not a big fan of that. I just like making small adjustments throughout the seasons. Now, one week it's this. One week we're putting asparagus on because it's in season, or I love whatever fruits, whether they be peaches in July. So you just, as a chef, I've been a chef, man, I don't want to date myself, but I don't know, 25 some years, like you kind of know the seasons, and what you like using in that first week of May. That's always ramps and asparagus or whatever it may be. So you just kind of have an arsenal that you go to, and you try to mix it up too. You don't always stick with that, but as the seasons change, our food changes, our desires change. Our salad cook has a pretty easy gig during the winter time, and then once it's summertime, man, he gets his butt kicked, and so it's all the cold food. Like, what do we crave? We want like a nice raw tuna dish in the summer months. We did this really good green curry tuna. It had it was a tuna tataki, like sliced rare with a green curry, edamame hummus, and some marinated tomatoes and cucumbers. It was just like a great summer dish that really kind of spiced you up, but then cooled you down at the end. And so we have a cucumber melon salad with fresh mozzarella and basil pesto that we put on the menu in the summer, because it's just one of those things that you could eat. It's fresh mozz. It's great. It's melon, so, and you also let your farmers kind of dictate to, we can't work with all, we can't get 100%, local produce, but, in the summer, we definitely work with a few farmers, and they'll let us know what's looking really good, what's coming up. So you just have to kind of prepare and predict what's going to happen. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes there's a flood or no rain, and then you got to just readjust. And, but you try to have enough things in your creative mind to kind of be able to do that.
Sounds fantastic. I can't wait to check it out this summer. All right.
Yeah.
Final segment is the Hat Trick Hot Seat, where we're going to give our listeners a chance to kind of learn a little bit more about you, kind of go behind the curtain, so to speak. So if you were going to have your very favorite Wild player come in for a meal, you wanted to, prepare a meal for your favorite Wild player, I got to know who the player would be and why you would pick that player, because it might not be the best player on the ice. It might be your favorite personality that you've gotten to know off the ice with different interviews and stories and so forth that you've seen. I know you're a big fan of the team. Which player would intrigue you the most if they came into Pink Ivy?
I don't know. I might be going a little cliche, but probably Matt Boldy. I'd love to just kind of pick his brain about just what happened, in the Olympics too.
Yes.
And so I'd love to I've been hearing everything on the radio and how just all it was just such a life-changing experience. And I just love to have that conversation with him and, relate. And I love his game and him getting one of the goals in the championship or the gold medal game. I mean, I just love that. And I would say him. It might be cliche, but, I think that would be a fun time to just try to see, learn from him what it all felt like and looked like.
Well, you couldn't pick a more down-to-earth, humble guy. Matt would be a really fun guy to chat with. Great pick. Yeah. I think you'd get a pretty versatile but healthy selection from him with his food choices, like all these hockey players. It feels like they're eating a lot of chicken and rice and drinking a ton of water. They play at a high level. They eat the right foods, but I think he'd love your menu. So I'm going to have to pass it on to him because he's such a great dude. All right, here's a good one for you. And this will probably, I got a couple different ideas because I know, you're younger than me, but you're not like our producer, Alex, who rubbed it in that he wasn't born yet when you graduated from high school and I was already old. So let's go with the first concert you went to. I want to know the band and the venue of that concert.
Oh, man. First concert I went to was Metallica at the Triple H Humphrey Dome, or the Metrodome.
The Metrodome.
Yeah, the Metrodome. And they were with Soundgarden, and this was with some my kitchen manager from Green Mill and my brother. And I want to say it was like 96, but that was the first concert I'd ever gone to. And I was really proud to be able to say my first concert was Metallica. So that was
great pick. Great pick.
So
now, I am a self-proclaimed movie guru. I probably head to the theater 2 or 3 times a week. So I've got a vast knowledge of movies. You might not have time to get to the movies, but because we went through the pandemic, because you're likely going to be hip and now and with it and wow with the Netflix and the Hulu and all that stuff, and you love, the business you're in, I want to know your favorite movie that either revolves or involves cooking.
Oh, man. So I don't really, I get this question a lot, not this exact question, but a lot of people in the restaurant, they'll stop me or I'll be in conversations and like, do you watch The Bear? And I'm like, no,
yes,
I don't watch The Bear. I tried to, and it really stressed me out after working a long shift, going home and seeing more stressful kitchen antics. So with that, I will say I don't watch a ton of like chef movies or anything like that. But I've definitely seen a few, but I've tried to stay away from them lately just because I have enough to worry about in my world. So, but there are a few out there that are great. Spanglish was a good one with Adam Sandler. He was a chef, and one thing I remember about that was he would get home at night and he would take his time and make this really amazing like chicken or this fried egg sandwich, and it just the way it showed him like how much care he put into this simple fried egg sandwich really kind of spoke to me as a chef, because that's how we do sometimes when we're just late at night after a long shift. Like sometimes we just go all out and we're just like, man, this is what I want and I'm going to make it the best. And that's what he did. And that's in that movie. And the other one would be, I'm going to throw another one out there, would be Chef, the food truck one with
Jon Favreau.
Yeah. That one, when he's teaching his son,
amazing movie.
Yeah, when he's teaching his son, like, the importance of just the details and like, you're not serving burnt Cubanos. We're not doing that, and he told them why. And that was a really cool teaching moment that I've kind of honestly taken, pull people aside and explain things, because not everybody understands the reasons why in the kitchen of why we do things. And so if we don't explain to them, then they don't really, but they need that explanation sometimes. So that really kind of inspired me to just really take that extra step and explain things. And that was a great movie. And to see him connect with his son throughout that road trip was pretty fun. And I love road trips too, so that helps.
Great picks. And I'm gonna leave you with this, because you were nice enough to give me your time today, and it turned out to be a great conversation. I'm gonna give you the gift of a great date night for you and your wife, whether it's now or sometime down the road this summer. One of my all-time favorite cooking-related movies. I hope you haven't seen it. I hope you get to experience it for the first time. If you've seen it, well, then we'll just move on. The movie is from 2014. It's called The 100-Foot Journey, and it stars Helen Mirren. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's a tremendous movie. Have you seen it?
I have not. No.
Okay. Make a mental note. The 100-Foot Journey from 2014. All right. With your passion and love of what you're doing and the way you've incorporated, you and your wife kind of doing it together as a team, you will absolutely love this movie. I can't wait to hear your review, whether it's now or 5 months from now. Okay. Check out that movie. Hey, Michael, I got to tell you, it was great seeing you about a month ago in your restaurant. I'm so damn proud of you. So happy for you. And I'm so happy for our listeners, because they get to go to Pink Ivy Kitchen and Bar and experience it for themselves. It's a tremendous spot. Support local. This is a great story. I really appreciate you sharing it with us today.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me. And it was a great to reconnect with you. And I look forward to, seeing you anytime in the future. And I'm gonna look up that movie, and I'm gonna text you and let you know what I think.
I love that, man. That's Michael Shaughnessy, the chef and co-owner of Pink Ivy Kitchen and Bar over in Hopkins. I got to tell you, folks, check it out. You will not regret it. I'm back after a quick break to put a bow on this week's edition of the show. All right, we're back on the show, and awesome time reconnecting with Michael Shaughnessy. Just love the passion, man. Like, you can feel it. You can hear it in his voice, how much he cares, how much he loves what he does. And I saw it firsthand. Like, I went in there not knowing that was his place. We just picked the spot, went online, found a cute place in Hopkins, wanted to have a fun brunch, met some friends there. And then, fate kind of took over from there, reconnecting with Michael. And this summer is going to be great to kind of get over there and to support local and to have such a cool spot to go to. It's maybe a 5 or 6 minute drive from where we live in Minnetonka, and really looking forward to going back to the Pink Ivy and checking it out. And honestly, kudos to him and his wife. They've done a spectacular job, and I know that business is not easy. And if you as listeners, and again, you're probably listening all over the Great Divide here in the Midwest, but if you're in the Twin Cities and can make it over to Hopkins, strongly recommend Pink Ivy Kitchen and Bar. Really cool spot, great atmosphere, beautiful decor. And, when you go to a restaurant, you want the food to be great. And it was. All four of us had a different dish that day at brunch. All four of us left saying, oh my God, was that good? So super fun to connect with Michael Shaughnessy today. As always, I love your feedback. I've had a couple of listeners send me some requests. We're going to try to get Jay Hardwick on as soon as next week, the head coach from the World Warriors, Class A champions on the boys side. He also won it 30 years prior, 1996, as a player. So we've got a text into Mr. Hardwick to try to get him on. But if you could just ping me on Twitter, I'm at Gorgamatic21. Any requests that you have, we'd love to take them. And I got to tell you, a few weeks ago, we had on Ben Wilson back from the Broad Street Bullies, Philadelphia Flyers, late 70s, then Chicago Blackhawks in the early 80s. He was on to promote his book, Gloves Off. While we were doing the podcast, I went onto the website and I ordered the book. It is here now. It just arrived about an hour before we recorded today with Michael. Ben Wilson, Gloves Off, anywhere you order books, Amazon and beyond, you can find it. And I'm going to tell you right now, I can't wait to dive in. He was a terrific guest from a few weeks back. So check out Gloves Off from Ben Wilson. Check out the Pink Ivy Kitchen and Bar on my recommendation. And again, who doesn't love the movies? If you've got a date night coming up, or maybe you're solo at home and just want to find something to do for a couple hours, that movie, The 100-Foot Journey with Helen Mirren, is spectacular. But have some food close by because the movie will make you hungry. It's that good. And it's kind of a behind-the-scenes thing with starting up a restaurant. So you won't want to miss it. Again, at Gorgomatic21 on Twitter. Any recommendations are appreciated. Most of all, thanks for listening. This has been another edition of Wooden Sticks.